All right, we're here back at the Manor with our good friend Patrick from The World According to Patrick. And if you haven't checked out his channel on YouTube, World According to Patrick, you should. The last episode was definitely worth a watch because you guys talked about your favorite vocalists, right?
Favorite vocalists.
And probably the most challenging thing about that was that you didn't stay within the metal genre.
I was all over the place.
Yeah. And that's probably
I forgot one of my favorite singers, Glenn Hughes.
There we go. Glenn Hughes, everybody. So did you?
And a lot of honorable mentions, which I'm gonna have to do on this one too, man.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about. We have to realize while we're heavy metal music Manor, yes, heavy metal is the primary focus, but at the Manor we embrace many genres, right there, Lyric and Patrick, and so we're going to talk about a lot of different guitars from lots of different types of styles of music. But the first thing is to realize that when you're writing a list, you're making a list. I probably went back 3 or 4 or 5 times. Did you feel the same? Did you have the same situation?
I was literally thinking of stuff on the way here.
Yeah, exactly. I think I might have changed my list now. Like right now. Actually, we did finally come upon a list. Larry, did you have any challenges with making your list?
There were actually a lot of challenges.
What was one challenge that you felt that you could
I felt
missing people?
Missing people, yes. I have a few honorable mentions, just maybe not as much as Patrick, but
I'll make it quick.
We have honorable mentions. But the thing about honorable mentions is that we have to have them because this is a list of 10. So tonight's episode is about our top 10 favorite guitarists. Now, if we said to each other, we're going to make a list of 10 heavy metal guitarists, it'd be a lot easier if it's just metal only.
For me, my favorite genre was metal, and that's the main genre I listen to. And basically, even though I'm in one genre, it's still hard.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, you too.
Yeah.
Like you did you stay with metal or you went
I'm all over the spectrum as well. I was going to tell you.
And
we discussed it. I was texting you and saying, "Man, I struggle with this just about as much as I did the singers."
Yeah. The vocalist episode was so impressive. You definitely have to check out World According to Patrick with that because the wide variety and such a list of distinct guitarists and singers and drummers out there that it's hard to narrow it down to 10, but we're going to attempt to do that tonight. So here's what we're going to do. Top 10 guitarists 2023. Our guest Patrick is going to go first with the first top 3. We'll go 10, 9, 8. Then we'll get Alaric to do his 10, 9, 8, and then we'll go down from there. And then we'll talk about honorable mentions. We do want to leave time for honorable mentions because those honorable mentions aren't necessarily any less, right? So when you make an honorable mention list, we all are thinking the same thing. These are guitarists that we have to mention because they're so good. And I went all over the place too. I mean, I'm not just metal, but again, metal is always in there somewhere. And so let's go ahead. Let's start this. So Patrick, you go first. And so number 10, 9, and 8. But you take your time there. Explain to us, give us an example of what's a reason why you like these guys.
Yeah, and I'm going to be real specific here too. They're not technically the best to me guitar players too. Some of them are just great songwriters and wrote some great riffs.
Yes.
Yeah,
no, good point.
I do have some of those guitar players in here, but I mean, some of them are just amazing, just songwriters, and just love their riffs. Are very memorable riffs. So, I'm gonna start with my number 10 is Jeff Hanneman.
Yeah.
Glad you said that.
Not a prolific. I mean, great lead guitarist. It's Slayer, him and Kerry King both. But I mean, some of the most memorable.
Slayer. Yeah.
Metal songs ever written. I mean, he wrote the first album, Die by the Sword. That's all Jeff Hanneman. Mandatory Suicide.
Great songs.
Angel of Death. Rain and Blood. He just was all over. South of Heaven. That's his main riff.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just start naming off songs like that. I mean,
so
even later on, Jihad, World Painted Blood, Beauty Through Order. That's all Jeff Hanneman. He had. I love Kerry King too, but to me, Jeff had this creativity about him, which was going to tie him with another number 10, but I'll just put him in my honorable mentions. But Jeff, I had to have him on here. Definitely not the greatest guitar player in the world, but just some of my favorite riffs of all time is Jeff Hanneman. And number 9, I'm going to have, it might be a little bit of a shocker, but I do think this guy is one of the greatest guitar players around. Started off in a band called Santana when he was 15 or 14, and Greg Raleigh used to pick him up from school, and he skipped school, and that is Neil Sean.
Oh yeah, Neil Sean.
Journey.
Oh,
yeah.
I love Journey. It's because of him.
Wow, surprise!
I follow him on Instagram.
Okay.
And I watch him every morning usually when I'm getting ready for work, and he's playing a new guitar, one of his new guitar axes, and just love Neil Sean.
Was Neil always in Journey? Was he from the beginning?
He formed Journey.
He did.
With Greg Raleigh from Santana. They came from
okay.
Santana.
Really?
They were jazz
Didn't know
fusion.
that.
I mean, they were just like rock jazz fusion.
See,
band.
I love the show.
First
I learned.
3 albums.
Yeah.
Journey, self-titled.
Okay.
Ansley Dunbar, I was telling you about, was
Oh,
playing
drum-
drums
yeah,
initially. There were 5-piece for a minute there, and Greg Raleigh was singing. This is before Steve Perry joined. Then they did Look Into the Future and Next, and those are just straight up progressive rock albums. They were going to get thrown off the label. They brought in Steve Perry.
Wow,
That's when they
okay.
became a more commercial band. But
Wow,
man, you got to
alright.
check that stuff out. It's just killer
Yeah, I
guitar
know
player.
Neil's definitely an amazing guitar player.
And he was in Santana. He played on a Santana album with Greg Raleigh as well. Greg Raleigh, of course, sang Black Magic Woman, Omen Koma Ya, and all
Gosh,
that.
I-
And he was the original singer of Journey.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. Yeah, they were a really
Wow, Neil.
hard, heavy, progressive rock band. And
Yeah.
I like the commercial stuff too, but I'm a huge Neil Sean fan.
And Neil's still doing it? He's still out there performing?
He's still doing it,
and-
man.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Which,
Surprising. I mean, I just think it's a shock. I'm already excited about this list because we're learning so much
that's why
about
it's
it.
so cool to do that. I
Yeah.
agree with you, brother, because
Yeah.
you have like different, all over the place,
Yeah.
like with singers and
Oh,
drummers.
yeah.
And
We
everything.
just stuck to
Yeah.
one style right now. It probably wouldn't be as exciting.
Yeah, my number 8, I had to have him on here. This cat was just so innovative and really came around the time when grunge was taking over for metal and all the other metal bands were kind of declining. This band somehow managed to stay up above the rest, and that's Dimebag Darrell.
Oh, okay.
Pantera.
Yeah, sure.
Pantera, one of my favorite
Yeah.
guitar
I
players.
had a feeling he'd be on your list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, he just was just such a phenomenal guitar player. Again, this was hard to do because I'm thinking
Yeah,
a lot of these
so
honorable
hard. It's
mentions
tough.
should
Oh,
be in here.
it's so hard.
But
Yeah.
I love this cat. I mean, he was such a great guitar player.
The Daryl.
Yeah, Dimebag Darrell had to be
Yeah.
on here.
On
I mean,
yeah, something else.
Yeah. rest in
yeah, I
peace.
mean, I liked probably my favorite stuff he did was on the Vulgar Display of Power album, Far Beyond Driven, even his early stuff though.
Yeah, Cowboys from Hell.
Mm-hmm.
The Pantera glam metal albums, they weren't horrible. They weren't horrible.
He shreds on there though, doesn't he?
He
They refer to
does.
those as glam? I mean, they
yeah.
call
Oh,
it
they're
glam?
glam.
They- is
you
that-
Projects
see
in the
Phil
Jungle.
Ensemble.
and
You
I
see
Am the
Phil,
Night. No?
yeah. You see Phil Ensemble on that cover. The
Okay.
hair, spike hair.
Alright.
Yeah, you know it's glam.
Yeah, obviously I don't know my Pantera, but I love learning about these things, and I certainly have not given Pantera enough attention. But Dimebag, he definitely deserves it.
Dimebag Darrell, boy.
Huge, and I saw them live. Them and Slayer probably more than anybody.
Really? Yeah, I
When
know
was
Slayer.
younger.
Yeah.
And I was always just blown away by his playing. I tried to get by the stage, and just get.
When was the first time you saw Pantera?
I saw them at Center Stage. No one knew who they were. They came with Wrathchild America and I think Suicidal Tendencies.
Okay.
Might be wrong on that, but this is right around the time Cowboys from Hell came out. I didn't even know about the album yet. We just happened to go.
Yeah.
I was like, "Who is this band?" And it was they were
Wow.
kind of nobodies, and
So you
I just was
saw-
blown away. I liked Phil too a lot, of
Yeah,
course. His
yeah.
presence.
In fact, you met Phil in someone. You said
I met him a couple
like
yeah,
them.
times.
I like your stories about
Yeah.
meeting
Yeah,
Phil.
yeah,
yeah.
Very cool stories.
Yeah, you like them from the get go, pretty much. Like were you aware of Pantera like before, like with albums like Metal Magic?
Not at all. Didn't know about them at all. They were known in Texas, but they were on their dad's label, which is kind of just like it wasn't even an independent label. It was just kind of something they were doing, and they were kind of just in that region of the country known, and they really weren't even living in Texas. I guess Phil found out about them. Maybe they played New Orleans. To my knowledge, they never played Atlanta though.
They never have?
No,
Really?
Not till Cowboys from Hell came out.
Wow.
That's
okay.
when they got signed on the Med
sure,
label,
sure.
and that's when they.
Yeah. Phil's from New
skyrocketed.
Orleans, right? He's from New Orleans.
Yeah, everybody else is from Texas. So
Texas,
Rex,
New
Vinny,
Orleans,
and
yeah,
Dime
okay.
are from Texas.
Right.
Lawrence
cool.
is a great place.
Yeah, you
Okay.
like Pantera though.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
okay.
Pantera.
Cool.
We own Vulgar Display of Power and the Great Southern Trendkill.
Yeah.
That's my
Great
favorite.
Southern Trendkill.
Yeah,
I like that
love
one.
it,
Out.
man.
I was like,
Yeah.
listen to that one. I'm a little late to them, actually. I'll be honest, but
Pantera never put out a bad album, never put out a bad song, in my opinion. It's all pretty damn good.
that's pretty good from you, Larry. Considering you have a very discerning taste, and he's pretty brutal about your opinion about things. It's pretty cool. But we definitely know Patrick wouldn't lead us wrong and astray.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay,
Yeah. So where are we? Where are we now?
my turn.
Oh, you did you get everything in? Okay,
yeah,
good.
that was my first.
All right,
three,
cool.
man.
So you're number 10 and number 9
First
and 8.
off, this one's a duo.
Number 10, right?
This one's a duo from same band. I can't choose between these two guys because I love them both, the guitarists, and when I met them, they're the nicest guys. It's Brent Hines and Bill Kellier from Mastodon.
Oh, good choice.
Love
Man.
Of
guys.
course, I'm gonna choose Brent Hines and Bill Kellier because Mastodon. If it wasn't for Mastodon, like that guitar technique is amazing. Just the proggy kind of vibe, and then like there's kind of sometimes in earlier albums a death metal vibe and stuff like that. And it's amazing that these guys can do it and still going strong and never will stop going strong. So next up we got Rob Cavastani from Death Angel.
Yeah.
He was one of the first times I've ever heard like heavier guitars. Like, it wasn't for Rob Cavastani, I wouldn't be liking certain people in like death metal or black metal and stuff like that. Like, Death Angel was a band that was a thrash band. That it wasn't for thrash and Death Angel, I wouldn't be into some of the stuff I'm into now. And cool. Rob Cavastani, he's so influential for me. When I met him, he's so nice.
Yeah, nice guy. They're all nice, sweethearts.
Yeah, so Rob Cavastani, my number 9. My number 8, another duo, Spencer Prewett. Probably some of you know who I'm talking about. They're true, fans of death metal, Canadian death metal. He was one of my favorite drummers, Spencer Prewett. And it's Toby Morelli and Dean Lamb from Archspire.
I don't know Archspire at all.
No,
do you
not
know
at
that?
all.
Yeah.
So you're teaching me something.
Yes.
Archspire.
So we got some of the best, my favorite technical death metal band. These guys shred so amazingly.
What's the name of the band again?
Archspire. So
where are they from?
We learned something,
Canadian.
man.
I know.
Canada.
And he's your son, right?
And I don't know half the
Or did
stuff.
you just pick this
I
kid
don't know.
up?
Came from a circus somewhere, like a metal circus.
Yeah. So you see,
but
with
He's a little
Archspire,
person.
they got those 8 string guitars. Holy crap! I love when guitarist has 7, 8 strings and up. It's awesome.
Yeah.
When someone says more strings is heavier, you get into some like gent stuff inside. It's like, all the super low, like over the top 26 strings. That's a little over the top, but 9 strings and 8 strings are really cool. These guys are
they proggy, Archspire?
And they're technical death metal.
Technical death metal.
These guys, they shred so amazingly. They're technical geniuses.
Oh, that's a tall order from you.
Oh my god, yes, they are technical geniuses.
You're pretty
100%.
You're pretty
yeah.
aware of
I
what's
just
going
can't
on.
specify enough how much I love this band and how amazing these guitarists are. So yeah, Toby Morelli, Dean Lamb as my number 8.
Okay, check your list, be sure, because we had to write these things down. We can't just, we'd be all over the place, right? Yeah.
So I'm Martha. I should have had this guy. I should have had this guy.
Oh, yeah. That's why we have honorable mentions. So you good, Larry? You get it?
Yes.
All right. Now I'm going to start with my number 10. Probably on my list, the most obscure guitarist I'm going to have on this. Every other guitarist you most definitely will know. But this guitarist is, he's a Vietnamese French guitar player who lives in Paris. His name is Yun Yen Lee. And I'm only pulling out a couple of CDs here that I absolutely love. Why do I love Yun Yen Lee? Because on his albums, Silk and Sand, Overseas,
You ever heard this?
and How Do I Do? First of all, the guy plays the most unusually looking guitar. It's like kind of an Asian, kind of a Far East Asian kind of shaped guitar.
Chucavolta.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what that means, but I know
that's a cult.
he plays a really unique guitar. Plus, his playing is so unique and distinctive because he can play Jimi Hendrix. He has an album where he put out music of Jimi Hendrix. He can shred like that, and then he can play a few Asian fusion, kind of jazzy, but rock at the same time. He even played on an album that played Mozart's music that was done as a kind of a rock fusion jazz format. Blew me away. So Yun Yen Lee is a guitar player to definitely check out. He's you can hear his love for his culture. And obviously he's Vietnam. He goes back to Vietnam. But he's
learned something new again.
I mean, you can tell.
Never heard of this guy.
These guys. The guys in the album too are all very good. Really good musicians. Chris Jennings and you get a lot of dudes who are really, and they're all on the jazz kind of fusion format. But again, you have this kind of Vietnamese French tinged music, very unique, very unusual. And again, the guy can play Jimi Hendrix. He could take a Mozart piece and turn it into sounding almost metal in a way. He's really diverse, right? Now I don't know if you like him,
You
but
stumped me with that, brother.
Yun Yen Lee.
Yeah.
Number 10. Now number 9 is number 9, Joe Satriani. And I have to say, Joe, because when I heard Not of This, I had the cassette Not of This Earth, and I had Surfing with the Alien.
That's the first one I got.
And I loved it, and of course, Flying in a Blue Dream. And I have to tell you, Joe Satriani, he studied with Steve Vai, didn't he?
Well, I don't want to get. He was a guitar teacher. He taught Steve Vai.
Yeah.
Alex Skolnick. Kirk Hammett.
Did he teach Alex Skolnick?
Rick Conant of Exodus.
I love this. See?
Oh, we did.
That's crazy.
They used to get lessons. I don't know if he taught him, but they took lessons from him.
Oh,
They were just talking about what a strict teacher he was. But no, Steve Vai took lessons from Joe.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I have it backwards.
Yeah,
so that's right. Okay, so Steve took lessons
Kirk
from
Hammett
Joe.
of Metallica went and saw him for quite a while, and
okay.
Rick Conant, Alex Skolnick.
Oh, Rick Conant. Oh,
Alex Skolnick of Testament.
That's wow.
And there's some. I know I'm forgetting some people. Another cat from. Oh boy, Sanctuary. I think the guitarist from Sanctuary actually a song. It's amazing his pedigree.
So he taught Steve.
He taught. Well, Steve knew how to play, but he learned a lot of his technique.
Of course.
Because he learned a lot from Frank Zappa.
Oh, did he? Well, Zappa's But before you go on, Larry, let me just tell you this. So the reason why Joe for me was definitely on the list as number 9 is because again his music. He was honest. If you take the album, even Flying in the Blue Dream. You have so many different styles on that album, but he did it so convincingly well. He's such a great technician. But his music was also funny, he had humor in it, kind of like Frank Zappa did.
Yes.
And Zappa was a great guitar player.
Frank Zappa was
well,
so influential.
well, Frank Zappa was a great guitar player too.
Yes.
Now,
he really was.
Yeah, he really was.
And quirky guy, very eccentric.
Just such a nutter, all over the place, just all over the place. You know the way we say Rob Zombie's all over the place, but Zappa, he's all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Joe Satriani just did so much. I loved his guitar.
Good choice.
Something I want to say though is that we're teaching you stuff, but we're not the only ones teaching someone something. Like you're teaching us stuff.
We're all teaching each other.
That's why we love hanging out with
That's
each other.
why we love doing these episodes.
Because we always learn stuff from each other for sure.
And no, let me do my number 8 because we definitely have a lot here, and we know that y'all don't like to watch anything more than 10 minutes. So, number 8, Alan Holdsworth.
I thought about
Alan Holdsworth now I'll tell you, I first heard about Alan Holdsworth. I remember hearing the album Heavy Machinery with Jens Johansson and Anders Johansson, who were later with Yngwie Malmsteen. And then, but here's where I really love Holdsworth, in the Bill Bruford 70s group Bruford. Feels Good to Me, One of a Kind were such influential albums for me. You have Jeff Berlin on bass, who was just incredible. You had Dave Stewart on keyboards, Alan Holdsworth on guitar, and Bill Bruford on drums. And then later, when Holdsworth left, they had a guy who was almost so gun-shy coming with the album Gradually Going Tornado. After Holdsworth left the Bruford group, this guy called himself, his name was John Clark, but he called himself the Unknown John Clark. Because how do you follow Alan Holdsworth? How do you follow Alan Holdsworth?
Yeah, he was amazing.
He called himself the Unknown John Clark.
Yeah.
Alan Holdsworth is my number 8, and I'm telling you, if you haven't heard him, I mean, it's like wow. I mean, even remember we went to go see Steve Morse live, and people were asking Steve after the show what he thinks of Alan Holdsworth, and Steve's like, he's great. What do you want me to tell you? Anyway. So let's go back to you, Patrick. Here we go. So now we're down to number 7, 6, and 5.
So number 7.
All right.
This was another Glenn Hughes moment, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's got to be in my top 10. I have pretty much everything not everything. I don't like what he does now with Blackmore's Night, but Richie Blackmore.
Oh, Blackmore.
You gotta be kidding me. I gotta have him in there.
Absolutely. I'm glad somebody had Richie.
I almost forgot to put him. I was like, oh no.
Richie Blackmore.
Richie Blackmore
is just phenomenal.
He
was so ahead of his time.
Yeah.
I mean, In Rock is one of my all-time favorite albums, Fireball. The Burn album, a real quick story. I know Stormbringer, he wasn't happy with the last album he did before he left. Of course, he came back and he did Perfect Strangers, but he was on a tour bus doing an interview, and I think it was the Stormbringer solo.
Yeah.
He was doing an interview, and you could tell he was disinterested, but that's a phenomenal solo, and he's talking to the guy doing an interview, and that tells you how good he is.
Yeah. Virtuoso.
Okay, and then Rainbow is one of my all-time favorite bands. I mean, you could listen to Rainbow Rising or Long Live Rock and Roll, absolutely. But as they got more commercial, I think one of the greatest guitar solos of all time is a song called Stone Cold, which Joe Lynn Turner sing for that song, Stone Cold.
I mean,
guitar solo is unbelievable. It's such feel, man.
It's an unparalleled.
Just an unbelievable guitar player. A really weird guy too, but I mean,
why did Richie leave? What happened with Deep Purple? Just in the end, he was just done with them. I mean,
well, he initially he always. When Glenn and it was actually his idea to get rid of the Mach 1, which was Nick Simpler, and the guy who's gone into obscurity now, that he hasn't been seen since 1980, the original singer, and I cannot remember his name.
Yeah.
And then they brought in Ian Gillan and Roger Glover, and who they brought in, and then Ian and Richie's very hard to get along
I heard,
with.
yeah.
And then Ian and Richie started butting heads, so they kicked out Roger and Richie, and he brought in David Coverdale. He had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
And Glenn Hughes, and after an album or two, he was ready for that. So I think a lot of it was just his power trip, and then he wanted something a little bit different. There was a band called Elf that was opening up
Elf,
for,
Dio,
for Deep Purple, and he was like, I'm going to do something with this guy, Ronnie James Dio. And that's initially what started Rainbow. And so he started talking on the side to Ronnie James Dio, and he brought in the guys from Elf, and they made the first album, and then, of course, they had multiple lineup changes. He's kind of like a Dave Mustaine. He's very difficult to get along with.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's saying that he's just a phenomenal guitar player.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
he's just amazing.
I love the Perfect Strangers album, by the way. That's one of my...
I agree, and a lot of people don't like that album.
I love
think
that
it's
album.
phenomenal.
I love the going back to the beginning, too, but yeah, I mean, made in Japan. And
Perfect Strangers is an amazing album. But about Rainbow... You know, Rainbow Rising, Long Live Rock and Roll, those two albums, you know, Long Live Rock and Roll is one album that helped me get into metal, like in Dio, like Holy Diver and stuff like that.
Sure.
That helped me get in to,
That was your gateway, right?
Yes, it was my gateway, and Iron Maiden and stuff like that.
Sure.
But Rainbow, it wasn't for Rainbow. I'm not, like, I'm sure I would probably still be into metal, but, you know, I probably wouldn't like, you know, heavier stuff like I do now. But, you know, Rainbow were one of my gateway bands for metal, and I love those guys.
Yeah. But Richie definitely, doesn't Richie now do a project with his wife? He spends a lot of time doing
It's good, that's what I'm saying at the beginning of Blackmore's Night. It's Celtic music.
Yeah.
And it's good for him, but that's not my trip.
It seems like to me it's more...
It's like you want to get, like you go to the Renaissance Festival and dance around, dress
exactly.
up like you're, that's not my thing, man.
It sounds like, it might be more his wife's thing.
I think it's something he's always been into.
He's
always had a passion for it, but it's funny with him because I think he was kind of one of the innovators of heavy rock, and he was real into that.
Yeah.
Then once he went so far with it, I think he got kind of bored.
I
think he's one of those kind of people.
Yeah.
You know, and then he's got this bizarre relationship with one of my all-time, you know, favorite singers, Ian Gillan. It seems like when him and Ian get together, they butt heads, but I mean, when they're away, they really have this weird relationship because. You know what the two of them together is phenomenal.
Would you say that Richie was one of the first guitarists to kind of bring in that kind of neoclassical Baroque rock?
Yeah, sure.
Uli John Roth, there's another guy.
Oh yeah, that came later though with the Scorpions.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Is Richie probably influenced Uli John Roth, probably right? I mean, they probably Richie was first. Because I mean, even Yngwie mentions Richie as being
that he worshipped Richie.
Yeah,
that's why he played the Strat because he that was his biggest influence.
I love the connection. See, what we do here is we make these connections with all this music in a short amount of time. It's just for me, it blows me away that there's so much, you know, that's interconnected. It's just bizarre. It's the highways and byways of music.
Let's put it this way: if I had forgotten to put Richie Blackmore, can we redo the video?
Yeah.
Put it in there.
Well,
and again, some of these are not necessarily the greatest guitarists of all times, but I used to play a lot of guitar. I was more in the rhythm guitar. So some of these guys are just better rhythm guitar.
Look, I mean,
players.
guitar's guitar, and if you could make a list based on virtuoso. Okay, this guy's a virtuoso, whatever. You know, you can say he's just has a really good feel, or he writes great music.
Diversity.
There's so many different ways to come at this.
Yeah.
You know?
So my number 7, he's got to be on here as well, and he's the reason why I picked up a guitar and started playing guitar, and that's James Hetfield. I think he is one of the best rhythm guitar players on the planet.
James Hetfield,
yes,
as a rhythm guitar player, does his job.
Oh, even the new album.
Absolutely,
I was listening to it the other day because I kind of started giving it another chance.
Yeah,
if you just listen to his riffs, I could listen to him play all day.
Yeah, James.
He's such a great guitar player, and his picking style is just amazing. I mean, you know,
If Darkness Had a Son's a great song. I mean,
he's just one of my favorite. Just one of the best. His riffs are just amazing to this day.
What album do you feel like he really was the strongest with? I mean, it's so hard. It's almost unfair.
Master of Puppets, everything he did on Puppet, Disposable Heroes.
I just Leper Messiah, just any of that. Damage Incorporated. I mean, we hear always about any of that. But
even then, To Live Is to Die, when he played that slow classical part. You know, dedicated to Cliff and all that. That's really, really, really cool.
James Hetfield. Well, I'm glad you put him on there.
Again, a lot of these are not going to be the technical.
No, that's right.
I was expecting him to be on here because
you thought I would.
I was expecting you talk about his.
I
life,
changed.
so
My
that's
life
good.
changed after him. I started dressing different. I grew my hair out.
Yeah.
I tried to look like James when I was younger.
Not a bad
I was
influence.
obsessed.
I mean, Kill 'Em All is no denying.
That changed everything.
Well, there's no denying the influence of Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and Master
The
of
first
Puppets. You
3
just can't
albums,
deny
holy
that.
crap.
Look,
Even
and
the first four,
and Justice
great.
for All. I didn't give Justice for All enough credit when it came out, and I was mad that Cliff died, and we all were. And then I kind of came back to Metallica again after Load and Reload, and I really love.
Even there's some good riffs on those riffs.
Yeah, and there are. Yeah, that's true.
Fixer and the
Yeah.
Outlaw Torn and all that. I love
They're
the
not
guitars.
bad songs.
It's
It's just
some of this, the
some of it.
singing and all that.
Some of it
Bob
kinda-
Rock is kind
yeah.
of
Well, yeah. Bob Rock is a whole other
Yeah.
chapter.
Bob
The
Rock.
drama. Yeah. So so where were you? Were you at
number 7 and number 6. A guy who is a hell of a shredder.
Yeah.
Another ass probably as a person. That's
Yeah.
Dave Mustaine.
Dave Mustaine. Oh, but see, now I agree with that 100%. Why he would be on the list.
Hello, me, Rita.
I mean, he is just a phenomenal player. I mean, what else could be said? And when he was in Metallica, he was definitely the leader of that band. I mean, he would talk between the songs. It wasn't James. It was all Dave. I mean, it was all Dave.
Dave really did.
Dave
ripped.
wrote all
Dare I say that this Dave Mustaine, we all say maybe he is
I like to
truly
think
the
so.
founding father of thrash. I mean,
In a lot of ways,
Yeah.
the Slayer
Yeah.
book I was reading was talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Mustaine wrote most of the riffs for Kill 'Em All.
A lot
And
of
some of my favorite, riffs and solos on Kill 'Em All
Mm-hmm.
were written by Dave Mustaine, and that album is awesome. And the first 5 minutes or so are just awesome. Dystopia was a great
Oh, I love
album.
Dystopia.
Sick, the Dying, and the Dead.
I haven't given enough chance.
there
to
are
that,
some songs that I
love.
love.
See, I like that one.
I gotta listen to that
But
one.
Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. It wasn't my cup of tea, but I loved there's
Still
some of the
good.
songs out there like Life
Yeah.
in Hell
Yeah.
and We'll Be Back. I love.
Dogs of Chernobyl. I mean, there's some really good stuff.
We'll Be Back is
Yeah.
my favorite song.
We'll
We'll Be Back.
That
Yeah.
guitar riff.
The guy beat cancer with his throat, but he still plays like you won't believe. I mean, the guy he's really just a riff master, like you said. So where were you? Because I did
That
10.
was it. That was.
Alright.
Oh, okay.
Nate.
So you did 7, 6, and 5.
Yeah.
Oh.
10, 8, 7,
Is that right? You missed it. You make sure you missed it.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Okay,
that was
cool.
it. That was it. 7, 6, and 5.
Good.
If I said 6, I'm sorry.
Got it.
That's-
Yeah, making
we
sure.
covered
We don't want to skip anything.
Yeah,
Now, Larry,
I didn't
My
mess you
turn.
up. Sorry.
No, good. You're
My
good,
turn.
brother.
I'm impatient.
7, 6, and 5. Go ahead.
So my number 7. No one's probably heard about this guy. You have, but you have no clue. Who this
Probably.
is.
Maybe
I want to
not,
learn.
maybe
Teach
not.
me
Okay.
now.
This guy's named Farvan.
Farvan.
See? I'm
Yeah.
learning, bro.
Farvan.
Yes.
Learning,
He's a
bro.
big YouTuber, isn't he?
Don't say it. He's not big, and he doesn't like the title YouTuber.
I know. Who
so,
does? Nobody does.
I don't like me.
That was
I
a
don't
joke.
like that title.
Right.
But but all I'm saying though,
He's a black metalist.
yeah, Farvan, Farvan, I love his.
Is he black metal?
Yes,
Okay.
Luke is black metal.
Luke.
I love his guitar playing so much. It's so cool. It has kind of like a DSBM kind of vibe for that. If you know what that is, thank you very much. You're a true Cavolta. But he has a DSBM kind of vibe.
Cavolta.
Yes.
Right on.
Okay.
I love the DSBM kind of vibe to it. He has kind of like I can hear influences from bands like Oscaraya and Psychonaut 4 maybe. And then of course, the classic influences like Dark Throne, Mayhem. He is such
What is his name again?
Farvan. That's
See,
he has
you're
a,
stumping me.
Yeah.
like a-
I just learned about him not too long ago.
and his YouTube channel is so great.
Don't say YouTube. That's cheesy.
His channel is awesome.
Yeah.
His channel is awesome.
Yeah.
And Farvan, if you see this, keep up the great work, man. You're awesome. Okay.
Yeah. He was nice enough to even subscribe to us, wasn't he?
I'm not. I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
No,
anyway, but
I
still,
don't-
he's a cool guy.
I don't know.
apparently, Yeah.
Number 6. You've heard of this guy, okay? And there's no sarcasm. Eric Rutan, Cannibal Corpse.
Oh, yeah.
And if you said that you haven't heard of them, I would smash a brick in the wall. That would be just weird. But
no,
yes.
of course, yeah.
Eric Rutan.
Cannibal Corpse.
I mean, the riff on Hammer Smash Face, that intro of Hammer Smash Face, it's awesome. Devoured by Vermin. There's one song I want to say, but I don't really want to say it because it's a YouTube channel. But a lot of Cannibal Corpse is just so cool. With the riffage is amazing. The solos, oh my god.
Riffage. Is that a verb?
I don't know. Riffage.
The riff
But yes,
meister.
Eric Rutan.
Okay, Cannibal Corpse.
Yes,
Okay.
Cannibal Corpse.
We're gonna see them soon, aren't we?
Yes, we're gonna see them.
Cool.
All
Amazing.
right,
So-
you guys get your tickets?
Gosh,
This
yeah.
one, not Gene Simmons, Jack Simmons.
Jack
I know
Simmons.
Gene Simmons is a bassist, but Jack Simmons from Slaughter to Prevail. And
Slaughter to Prevail.
yes, Slaughter to Prevail.
I
They're
don't know
not.
anything about them.
They're from Mother Russia.
Yes. But about Slaughter
I
to
love
Prevail.
this. I'm learning stuff.
We're gonna see them
Yeah.
July 23rd with Enterpriser, Chelsea Grin, Body Snatcher, and Traders. I love all of those bands.
Yeah.
Jack Simmons, though, the breakdowns, of course, the breakdowns are easy to play and stuff like that. But when it comes to the actual songs, the songs like Brafa and Hell and songs like that by Slaughter to Prevail, it's amazing.
Is Jack
Fun
Simmons
stuff.
his name? That's not his real name, right?
That well, change it. He's Russian, so
Yeah, they're all
probably
Russian.
not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, all the stuff from Jack Simmons, that everything he writes is incredible. The new song Viking. I'm so excited for the new Slaughter.
Well, I'm gonna hear this live. I'm
Yes.
gonna make my. I
But,
feel like make my decisions. Yeah.
Viking, the-
Yeah, he definitely changed his name. It's probably some crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Sade Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
Most of the Norwegian
Yeah.
musicians change their name because they think people Americans can't pronounce it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, but,
which is probably true.
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But
Norwegian
with
background. Yeah, who was your next
what
one?
was I gonna say? No, this is my third one. What was it?
So Jack
wait,
Simmons.
who was it?
So
Oh
you
yeah,
start with
Jack
Simmons.
Simmons, Slaughter to Prevail.
Okay.
Also about him, intro to the song Hell off their first EP. It's so awesome. Like 1984, the song 1984, that single they put out last year, 2022. Just such a cool start, and then it's like dun, 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 and then it goes in dun 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 dun, and I love that. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And Jack Simmons, my number.
So who's your
My
number?
number 5.
Number 5.
And yes, just can't say enough how much I love him as a guitarist. And yeah.
You stumped me on 2 of those, brother.
Jeez, yeah, I know of these guys, but he knows more about it. Do you have who's your number 5?
That was my number.
Oh, was your number 5? Jack Simmons?
Yeah,
Okay, you did.
Jack-
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you said,
See, I
we
think I
stumped-
called my 6, but we're going on.
No, I get stumped at Alaric. You know, he knows more about this stuff than I ever will now. I mean, I went to a certain point with metal in my interest, and I stopped for a while and went back. But yeah,
You
learning-
could've
He's probably
Euronymous.
he's turning you on to some
Yeah.
stuff you never
Oh,
would have listened to.
absolutely.
If I was alive in the 90s,
90s,
and
yeah.
I had the money
Yeah,
to do it,
the
I
90s for
would
me
go
were-
straight to Norway,
Yeah.
meet the guys from Mayhem, see
Yeah.
a concert.
See,
Mayhem,
I went from
stuff.
1980 to 1989, and then 1990 hit, and I went all to other things.
You
for
miss
a while.
Rust in Peace.
I missed a lot. I missed a lot of things. I didn't really miss that one. I got to that point where I was ready for some other things. But that's why my list is so diverse. Now my number 7, Robert Fripp.
Robert Fripp.
Great choice.
King Crimson.
Hell of a
Now-
guitar player.
Now hold on. Now I'll explain to you that Robert obviously.
Robert Fripp.
All right, he's not for everybody, but then who cares, right? Because if you understand, if you listen to an album, okay, obviously in the Wake of Poseidon, in the Court of the Crimson King, even that early stuff with Michael Giles on drums, and you have, oh my gosh, Greg Lake singing. But then when I think the album that really made me love Robert Fripp was Lark's Tongues and Aspic, with Bill Bruford, Jamie Muir on percussion. All right, hold on now. So the thing is, I understand that album, Lark's Tongues and Aspic, was definitely for me the album that where I love Robert Fripp. And then later, you know, the album Red, Three Perfect Pair, and Beat were the 80s King Crimson with Adrian Belew and Tony Levin and all that. I love that too. But Robert Fripp, and his Legal Crafty guitarists. He used to get guys in a circle of like 20 or 30 guitarists playing acoustic guitars and just doing these incredible kind of polyrhythmic type of guitar stylings. It's just absolutely off his nut. But he just had such a crazy angular way about going through, into a piece of music.
You've really turned. I mean, 2 great choices for Alan Holdsworth and Robert Fripp.
God,
Because they're not on my list.
I just.
I understand why you have them on there. They're great. They're phenomenal.
And Robert now is trying to show everybody he has a sense of humor, which I love him.
Yeah, he's doing this with his wife.
That's
His
why,
wife's nude.
I mean, she's
She looks like
practically
she's in
nude.
her 60s.
Yeah, and it's funny, and I love these.
I couldn't believe it.
I mean,
he seemed to have no sense of humor when he was
That's
sitting
right.
And now he's kind of.
He's
It's like-
he's
Good
trying
for
to,
him.
He's trying to dispel the myth, but if you think about it, though, I saw King Crimson live only once, but I saw them when it was.
Oh, really?
it
I
was
thought
the-
you'd seen him more now.
No, once, and I saw
Oh,
them.
wow.
Count Basie Theater. I saw them. It was the sixth of them. It was actually you know, it was Robert Fripp, Adrian Ballou, Tony Levin, Trey Gunn, Pat Mastelotto, Bill Bruford. It was a lot, but it was really an eye-opening show. Now, that was number 7. Number 6, I have to put, to me, this is the most underrated guitarist, and it's Alex Lifeson from Rush. And I have to tell you,
Good choice, man.
Alex for me has just this beautiful, moving way of soloing, and it's not just in songs like La Villa Strangiato, but if I listen to him play the guitar, it's his early stuff from even the first Rush album all the way through. There's that thing about the 80s albums were really not poorly, they were not really well done as far as the mix of the albums. They were definitely thin sounding, like Kevin Caveman Shirley said, which is true, until he got to them at the Counterparts album and made them kind of sound thick again. But some of those albums like Presto and Hold Your Fire, and they were not the most loved albums maybe by Rush fans, but I love all the Rush albums. But one thing Alex does, I think he just brings such a moody, kind of moving, emotional vibe to his solos, and he's not known as necessarily as a virtuoso, but I just love Alex Lifeson.
I think he's a great guitarist.
Yeah.
Good choice.
And so I said, so Robert Fripp was 7, Alex Lifeson 6, and then I'm gonna put here a guy that I actually met. He's from New Jersey, Al Di Meola.
Mr.
And I met Al Di Meola. I saw him. It was a meet and greet with him, and okay, so you understand
Another good choice.
Yeah, I mean, Al Di Meola, Land of the Midnight Sun, and Elegant Gypsy. Let me explain to you why Al Di Meola's on this. I love Al. I love everything about him. Love his guitar, everything. His guitar solos, his guitar songs, everything. His pieces, just everything. But I was listening to Rain and Blood, Slayer at the time, and my friend Anthony came over with the album, and this album, Elegant Gypsy, by a guy named Al Di Meola. I said, what the hell is this? My mindset's I'm listening to Slayer, Jeff Hanneman and Kerry King, which I love. I love those guys. But then Anthony says, I love Slayer too, because Anthony brought Slayer to me also, as the guy that introduced me to Slayer. But then he also said, listen to this. He puts on Al Di Meola, and it's Race with Devil on a Spanish Highway. And I said, this is insane. Like, this guy is like take a flamenco guitarist with a metal guitarist with a fusion jazz guitar, all rolled up into one with a little kind of Latino vibe, and it just, everything was in there. And so it blew me away. So Al Di Meola was my number 5.
Good choice.
Crazy
I like
stuff.
your choice.
Yeah, let's go here. Let's see. What's your number 5? Your number
4.
4. Yeah, your number 4, 3, and 2.
Yeah, they're not all going to be metal, but
no, that's cool.
This is another metal, and that's
great.
I can almost have this. It's my number 2, but I have the other 3 are definitely my top 3. And the older I've gotten, the more I appreciate him.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he finally got his break when Jeff did go down, and that's Gary Holt, man.
Gary Holt.
God, I love Gary Holt.
Oh my God.
Such a good guitar. He is a beast. I think he's so underrated.
Yeah.
And Kirk, I did learn this. Kirk Hammett taught him how to play, but I'm going to tell you, he surpassed Kirk, and Kirk would even admit that.
Yeah.
And they just said he's just like a little shredder. I mean, he's just such a. What he can play is phenomenal. If you've ever seen the guy live,
have once.
Yes.
I've seen him probably 10 times.
10,
saw him a couple times with Slayer after Jeff was sidelined, and then I've seen Exodus multiple times, but I saw him at the Masquerade one time. Yeah. And there's probably 50 people there. Rob Dukes was singing at the time. And I'll never forget, I was like, for me, probably to you, and I just stood right there in front of him with my arms crossed and watched him. And that's when I realized what a phenomenal guitar player he is. I think he could play just as good as Eddie Van Halen, technically and everything. Yeah. That's saying so. I love Eddie Van Halen too. Yeah. I can't mention everybody, but had to have Gary Holt on my list.
Absolutely.
Of course. Oh my God. Rick Hunock too. I got to give a shout out to. I mean, when
Rick has his own band now too, doesn't he? Rick.
He started another band. He had some Die Humane.
Okay. But Gary.
Yeah. Rick's no longer in the fold. Lee Atlas from Heathens playing with Exodus now, he's a great guitar player.
Yeah.
Lee was great. We saw Lee live.
Lee's great, man.
But Gary, you're right. That's a very good point about talking about someone like he really can shred like probably beyond.
He doesn't get enough credit. He's he's much better guitar player than Kerry.
Underrated.
As far as technique. Oh my gosh.
So you say he's underrated for sure.
Oh yeah.
He is.
I don't think people realize how good he is.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And then people jam with him like like somebody like a Steve Vai, and they're like, oh my God, this guy's maybe just as good as me, or etc. He's really good.
There's no let up with Gary. I remember we saw him, right? We saw him just once.
Oh, I was in awe.
I can't say enough how he's just amazing. And I don't think he just kind of.
He didn't really he never really stopped. He never really lost any of his technique.
No, he's gotten better. I love the new album, Persona de Grata.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, it's great.
Absolutely.
Number 3 has to be on here, and of course, back in the '60s, he made a lot of guys like Pete Townsend and others want to quit. And change amplification and everything. That's Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix, yeah.
It was gone too soon. I mean, he started off, playing with a lot of, I don't want to say the Isley Brothers. He played with Little Richard for a
period.
Did he really? Yeah,
Oh,
and then
okay.
of course Chas Chandler from the Animals.
Yeah.
Saw this guy playing in a club and brought him over to England. Got him with Noel Redding and Mitch Mitchell. And
I love the Valleys of Neptune
Oh
album.
yeah, well he only did 3 albums. He wasn't in the Band of Gypsies
Experience.
album.
Yeah, our experience.
But I love Hendrix. Had
Yeah.
him have him on here. I mean, what an innovator, man. Way ahead of his time.
Southpaw.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was how many years ahead of his time?
I mean, I think everybody from Sting to, maybe Eddie Van Halen, anybody who would say, I need Hendrix
Jimi
as an
Hendrix.
influence.
Yeah, he had to be on my list.
I mean,
I mean,
even
I was obsessed with
Satriani.
him. When I was your age,
Yeah.
I listened to
All
Hendrix
influence.
constantly. I got a little burnt out on him, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And
I can put that Are You Experienced album out. I'm just like, wow, Noel Redding and Mitch Mitchell and Hendrix. Just great trio. Great power trio.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah,
Cream,
Mitch
man.
Mitchell's an underrated drummer.
He is. He blows me
I had him
away.
on my honorable mentions
Yeah,
for drummers.
absolutely. Mitch Mitchell.
But
Remember
Jimi Hendrix, what can I say about the guy? I mean, I think people used to get really upset, including Clapton, and they'd be like,
Yeah.
I need to just give it up. I mean, he
Clapton.
was so good.
Oh God! See, in other words, Eric Clapton too, great guitar player. But yeah, you think Hendrix?
My favorite Clapton though is Cream and Blind Faith.
Yeah.
For
Love that. Almost definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. Jimi Hendrix. It is. I'm glad
Number 3.
somebody had to mention Jimmy on this.
Yeah.
For sure. I'd be ashamed. if you
And my
didn't.
number 2 is probably the only guitarist I can listen to his instrumental albums, and I have a ton of them. I don't have them all. I'm probably going to after he passed get them all. And oh my gosh, the guy, I think he got better with age. He started with a pick, then he started playing with his fingers. That's Jeff Beck.
Oh yeah! Wow. Okay.
Jeff Beck is Blow by Blow is one of my all-time favorite albums. George Martin produced that album.
Yeah.
Because We Ended as Lovers is probably one of my favorite instrumentals of all time. I mean, and Wired. He did some stuff with a guy named Jan Hammer, a lot of jazz
Oh,
fusion.
yeah.
Do you ever hear those?
Yeah.
Check it out. It's really good. And of course, the Jeff Beck group started with Ronnie Wood.
Ronnie Wood. Oh yeah,
From
Ronnie.
The Faces and Rod
Rolling
Stewart.
Stones, Yeah, sure.
And, that band could have got a little bigger. They were a super group, if you will. Not really a super group. They kind of came out. He started with the Yardbirds, just like Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page. And then Jimmy and Jeff were like best buds.
Were they? Yeah.
They were both in the Yardbirds for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, as another one, temperamental guy,
Yeah.
had a fit on stage one day and just destroyed all his equipment, left, started the Jeff Beck group, and of course, the Yardbirds turned into Led Zeppelin. So,
Amazing
but
connections.
Jeff Beck, I had
He
to
was
have
on
him there.
Ozzy's last album, wasn't he? Then?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
yeah.
actually listened to it, and his stuff on there.
Yeah.
I was actually, real quick, I was surprised. I don't mind that album.
Yeah,
I thought I was going to hate it. It's
Oh.
actually pretty good.
Oh, I
It's a
like
lot
it.
better
I
than-
like
I
it.
a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
We
I was
haven't.
like, you know what?
We even got the.
I was kept saying, this
Yeah.
isn't really that bad.
Yeah, that's good. We like it, don't we, Lyric? And we got the
I love
comic.
it.
He got the Lyric got the comic book version.
Oh, yeah, that's-
the
You're gonna have to
graphic
show.
novel.
We're done with it. Shut to show it to
The
me.
graphic
Yeah.
novel version of that. Yeah.
But that's
Cool.
my number 2
Jeff
is
Beck. And he
Jeff
died
Beck.
recently. Rest his soul.
Yeah, he died last
Jeez,
year.
Last year.
Yeah, which I was shocked. I had no idea it was.
Cool that Ozzy had him on.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, was that yours?
I really am.
Patrick's good. You got
Okay.
him on?
Yeah.
All right, we're
Alright.
on to you, Lyric. Go ahead.
All right, you're good, bro.
Number 4, Adam D'Amico from Lorna Shore. The first
Yeah.
time I've ever seen Adam D'Amico from Lorna Shore, you know Lorna Shore, right?
New
really,
Jersey
bro.
band. Well, I just learned about Lorna Shore. We just saw them live recently
Yeah, we
with
saw them live.
Gojira and Macedon.
Yes. The whole time I was like,
I didn't know about
whoa! I was looking at Will Ramos and Adam D'Amico playing, singing and playing, and just I'm in awe with Adam D'Amico and Will Ramos and those two dudes. And the first time I ever saw Adam D'Amico, I'm like, holy crap! He is amazing. He's all you want from a guitar player. He writes amazingly. He wrote one of the I think it's the first band that ever wrote a deathcore ballad, and that's really cool. But just the way he has the technical abilities, what songs like Pain Remains, Dancing Like Flames, Sun Eater, songs like that off the new album, To the Hellfire. Those songs are like, really hard to play. For some guitarists, it just seems impossible to play, but he does it perfectly every time. And yeah, it's amazing.
Lawrence
So,
Shore. I didn't know about Lawrence Shore.
No.
They're from New Jersey, apparently.
Okay.
I said New Jersey Shore. I don't know.
This one, I still haven't made up which guy I'm gonna choose for number 3 spot. So it's a tie, and it's Matthew Grey Wolf from Powerwolf.
Oh.
And it's a tie with Olavi Mikkonen from Amon Amarth.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
I can't choose between these two guys. They're amazing. I mean, let's start off with Matthew Grey Wolf. Matthew Grey Wolf, one of the best songwriters in power metal history. Amazing. I love his the riffs, the solos. The solos are simple but effective, and I love that. I love the thing where Powerwolf does is like they play the chorus without vocals as the intro, and then they bring it back, and you're like, oh, that's really cool. And I love that Powerwolf do that. So I'll be making it from Groovy.
We came to Powerwolf a little
Groovy,
late.
babe.
I mean, for me, Return to Blood Red was an awesome album, and Powerwolf for me.
All of their albums are awesome.
I was unsure about Powerwolf, and the first album was really good. I didn't really go into Lupus Day, the second album.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure about.
Okay, so.
But you like.
I love it.
Like it. Yeah,
I love it.
I like some of it.
Blood of the Saints with Redrink Your Blood and Sanctified Dynamite off of it's so cool.
Yeah. Who's your next one?
Yeah, Olavi Mikkonen tied for number 3.
He tied. Okay.
Yes, Olavi Mikkonen. That riff writing is just so cool. Like Guardians of Asgard.
That's a great song.
Saxons and Vikings.
Look, seeing Amon Amarth live, and I have to tell you, they
really
really rival Maiden now with they have like in their
I've
stage
never
show.
seen them live.
They have inflatables like Vikings, and you have Thor and Odin, and I mean it really felt like this could be a Maiden show. The way it was so elaborate, it's just so involved, and it's really
They got quite
cool.
a following now.
Yeah. Also,
I mean, yeah, they're very cool.
Also some other stuff about Olavi Mikkonen. Like some other songs that it's just outstanding is like Get in the Ring. I love it's not like he's not a technical genius or anything, but same with Matthew Grey Wolf. He's all you want from a guitarist, and he's just a tip-top shape for a guitarist. I mean, when I saw him live, he was just perfect in every way as a guitarist, and some of the stuff he does, and he's definitely my favorite person to write riffs. And then another guy too, but just I'm making it my number.
Don't tell us number 1 yet. Who's number 2?
Matthew Grey Wolf.
Who's your number 2?
So my number 2 is you may have not heard of this guy. He's kind of small. Euronymous. You know who that is?
Yeah, Euronymous. He's a legendary figure of black metal, Norwegian black metal.
And don't
I don't know who that is. Who is this?
Euronymous. Yeah, he's just insane.
Yeah, I was joking.
Insane.
I was joking. Don't dislike the video. Okay, I was joking.
Yeah.
Euronymous.
He was a good guitar player, though.
He found one of the best guitar tones in black metal history.
Wow, okay.
Death Crush, Chainsaw.
Yeah.
You know what song I'm talking about? The Death Crush EP. I'm just not gonna say that title.
He's a legendary figure.
Yes,
but he was a good guitar player.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my god, just everything about him is so cool. He didn't do too many solos, but it's black metal, so you don't need solos.
Right.
But
more understated.
He was pretty untrained, and yet he seems to be a really.
He's a natural
awesome
musician.
guitar.
He's natural.
Yes, natural musician.
Some of the great unwashed were some of the best musicians were the great unwashed.
Yes.
I mean,
Oh sure.
I mean,
I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
People will never hear. People never hear about it.
Right.
This band.
Everybody went to Berklee College of Music in Boston or Juilliard in New York. I mean, give me a break.
Also, though, about Euronymous, I know that Euronymous wasn't on the album Die Mistrostam Satanis, their first full-length studio album, but he wrote those riffs, and those riffs are so awesome. And Die Mistrostam Satanis solo is one of my favorite
It's a great
solos.
album.
Yes, one of my favorite solos of all time is Die Mistrostam Satanis title track.
Yeah.
You got Pagan Fears, Funeral Fog, Freezing Moon. The first Mayhem song I've ever heard was Funeral Fog, and it is still today my favorite Mayhem.
The fact that
song.
Necro Butcher and Hellhammer are still doing it with Mayhem and all this, I can't wait to see
it's so
Mayhem.
cool.
This is a band I didn't want to like Mayhem. I didn't even want to like it. I didn't even want to like it, and I like it a lot. I actually
Because
love
you're
it.
a wussy. No, I'm joking.
Well, very funny, but I'll tell you what, I didn't want to like it because it came from the 90s. But when I'll tell you something, when I actually sat down and listened to it, I said, this is so damn good. And it just spoke to me. So, again, I mean, I don't like all of, the black metal, but I'd tell you, there's a lot I do like.
Most black metal is awesome.
Well, I like a lot of it. Some that I wasn't sure about. Some that I don't like, but Mayhem for sure. Okay, so that was your number 2?
Yes.
All right, so let me go to my 4, 3, and 2, and then we're going to go back to Patrick for his number 1. Number 4, Steve Morse. Okay, Dixie Dregs, guys, and then Dregs.
Yeah, that's a great.
Oh, right?
One hell of a guitar player.
Did you know? Were you familiar with Steve Morse?
Oh yeah, I knew about him before he joined Deep Purple.
God, I mean, I was listening to Whoosh today with Deep Purple. Like, God, here's a guy just took his such a technically great guitar
Such a
player.
great guitar player. What I mean, different from Richie, but he got his own style. I mean, in a lot of ways, he might be a little better than Richie. I mean, I says, I don't know. I mean,
No, I like what Richie did. I love Richie took his Baroque and his classical influences, like a neoclassical. I love that about Richie.
Yes.
That's why I love Yngwie and people like that. And even Uli John Roth. But when Steve Morse did, they were in Florida and they were in Georgia, and they came from here and they kind of built themselves up in Atlanta. Most of the records are in Atlanta. They started off with Dixie Dregs. They would do country shuffles one minute, and then Baroque and classical the next, and then jazz fusion kind of weird stuff. Crazy stuff. You listen to Unsung Heroes, right, by the Dregs. They took away the Dixie because it offended people, maybe. They did Dixie Dregs, whatever. It's a bunch of bull. But the thing is, I feel like Steve Morse, man, I've seen him live with Van Roman and Dave LaRue. And
he's gotten that band back together, I guess.
Did he?
Yeah, I think.
Well, he quit Purple, didn't he?
Yeah, he quit Purple.
I mean, his wife was ill, I know.
His wife's got cancer,
Yeah,
so he wants to spend
sucks
time with her. That's
eggs.
what he's saying. But I think he's trying to do, like
Yeah.
you're talking about, he's doing something like that with the Dregs.
Yeah.
I think so.
But the Dregs came back for a year. I was missing the show. They had a reunion tour here. But anyway, Steve Morse, I grew up with. I love Steve Morse. Night of the Living Dregs album, Dixie Dregs. A Dregs of the Earth. I just listened to that today.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Great choices, man.
And yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I saw him at Purple one time.
Did
I'm
you?
gonna
Oh
say
man.
That's
a show I would
might
like to
be.
see.
I remember saying when everybody was with the best guitar. He did a guitar solo that I've ever seen. I've seen so many
Steve.
people.
Did you? And you?
Oh my god! I could not get over how good I was blown away.
I mean,
that's when I really realized what a great guitar player he was.
And
He's in my honorable mention.
Oh God, I'm glad, man. I'm very happy
I
to hear
wanted him
that.
in my top 10.
Well, we're and you think about his band,
Such
Alan
a great
Sloan and Andy West and all those guys. T. Lavitz, then T. Lavitz died. Then you had Mark Parrish on keyboards. But here's what happened. Steve Morse took his amazing talent, brought it to Deep Purple. I mean, you listen to the album Whoosh today, and I was like, wow, I could hear Steve in there. Like, he really owns that. It's
Power
fantastic.
of the Moon song.
I love it. Yeah, I love that song. Now, but his solo stuff, Steve Morse Band, Gary Meek, it was
yeah, he's got Steve Morse.
Rod Morgenstein. I mean, Rod Morgenstein as a drummer, again, he did things that double bass stuff that way before a lot of other guys were doing that. Okay, but Steve Morse, for me, love the Dixie Dregs, love the Dregs. Steve Morse is number 4. Number 3, Akira Takasaki from Loudness.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, Akira Takasaki has a tone
Yes.
that makes you feel like it's exotic to me. And when he tuned down in the 90s.
Oh, I love that.
Yes,
Gents
and I'm
doing-
okay with that. Albums that were later on Loudness, you had like the Japanese Loudness, then you had the Americanized Loudness, then you have the 90s tuned down Akira Takasaki.
I love that. That's my favorite.
And then you have now the Loudness we have now, which is just everything.
That's awesome.
It's all mixed now. It's insane.
Sunburst is like
Oh,
wow.
Sunburst is a kick-ass album.
Yes.
But Akira Takasaki, I mean, I saw them with Motley Crue, and I'll tell you, God, nothing. Look, I like Motley Crue, I admit, back in the very early days, and I saw them on the Theater of Pain tour, but Loudness comes out and opens up for them and blew them away. I mean, Akira Takasaki, man, listen, I don't need to be hearing Mick Mars. I mean, I heard Akira Takasaki was the guy. But no offense to Mick Mars. I mean, Mick, all right.
No, well, yeah, he's.
But okay, number 2, Martin Barr, Jethro Tull. The shirt. Martin Barr, why I love Martin Barr? Look, Martin Barr, for me, I've seen him live so many times. I actually met Martin, and I had the pleasure of meeting him. Real sweet guy, real gentleman. And I mean, seeing Martin Barr front row, I've sat and listened, watched him front row many times. I mean, this is Jethro Tull, for God's sakes, way before my time. Martin joined the band in 1969 with the stand-up album.
I was gonna say his second
Yeah,
album.
yeah.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yes, because Mick
He just
Abrams.
left.
Oh God.
That's a
And he
long
did.
tenure with
People
the
are
same
pissed
group.
that people don't like that Martin's no longer with Ian. I mean, it's like, where's Martin?
It's like Lennon McCartney.
Yeah, absolutely. They're pissed off. It's like, wait.
Page, Robert Plant or something.
Right.
Like that.
And now they have Joe Parrish James, which is, Ian has his Jethro Tull Band back. He has 2 new albums that are very good. I mean, the Zealotine and of course, what's the other one? Rock Flute. Yeah. But anyway, lovely albums. But Martin Barr, for me, watching him play, and seeing how guy can play mandolin, he can play bouzouki, he can play the flute even on a couple of things. His acoustic playing, his electric playing, God, Songs from the Wood, Heavy Horses. I mean, oh God, it's just so damn good. All right, and we're gonna go back to our guest, World According to Patrick, for number one.
Number one.
Yeah, my number one.
Number one.
Probably no shocker to these guys, and that's Tony Iommi.
All right. Yes.
Of course.
Tony. I mean, the Godfather. The Godfather.
He created heavy metal with an
Yeah.
accident. It's just amazing. It shows you in life. And
Yeah.
you think something is just your all-time low.
Yeah.
He was ready to just call it a day.
Yeah.
Everything. I read his autobiography. He was done. He cut off his fingertips, laying around feeling sorry for himself. And I said this in your other video.
No, you got it. It's worth
School teacher
repeating.
came over.
Yeah.
And said, here, I want you to check out Django Reinhardt. This guy was in a fire, and he said, man, I think, and it just like a light bulb went on.
Yeah.
And he melted these fingertips, and he had to change the strings because it
Did
hurt when he played.
He had turned down.
Yeah, and he had,
Yeah.
and if you like, the plastic fingertips, and
Crazy.
that created heavy metal from something tragedy, changed music.
So we have to
Yes.
thank the Belgian guitarist
And
Django Reinhardt for
if
Tony.
I think if I had a
Yeah.
wish list of anybody I could meet, I probably would just shake his hand. It
Yeah.
wouldn't matter. It used to be McCartney, but I think I would
Yeah.
want to meet Tony Iommi.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the guy.
Yeah. I love his book
I'm
too.
obsessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love his book. I love what he did with Glenn Hughes.
Yeah.
When he fused out the DP sessions.
Glenn Hughes, you gotta mention him again.
Yeah, because
No,
I
you have
full
to.
back
You gotta go
shot
backtrack
singers,
now.
I love Glenn Hughes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can't say enough about the guy.
No, Tony's the man.
Even the more obscure
Sure.
Sabbath with Tony Martin's grown on me through
Seventh
time.
Star, you said was a big album.
Oh, Glenn Hughes.
Yeah, see now I gotta listen to this. I'm gonna buy Seventh
Ray
Star.
Gillen actually. I like Ray Gillen. I got the
Yeah.
double CD version with Ray Gillen singing,
Yeah.
which from Badlands. That's a
Yeah.
great album.
Yeah.
And then the more obscure stuff like Headless Cross,
Headless Cross,
and Born
yeah.
Again. Of course, the stuff with Ozzy and Dio goes without saying. But
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Mob Rules, that riff
It's a
on
great
on
album.
itself.
Listen to Fools,
Children of the
Mob Rules.
Grave,
Yeah, great album.
Children of the Grave, Into the Void, all
Yeah.
those songs,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
The
Just
riff.
start Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath,
Yeah,
Symptom of the Universe,
absolutely.
man.
Yes.
Thrill of it all. I mean,
Yeah.
we start naming off songs.
I mean, I
from
think that Tony's. It's almost like
he's a
Tony-
riff lord.
He
He's a
really
riff
is.
master.
He really is, and there's no doubt. There's no denying.
He had to be my number one.
Oh God. Well, I'm so glad to hear. That's a very, very.
Can you imagine sitting in a room with somebody like him and just say, hey, and just sit here and have a glass of wine or whatever and just sit there and watch the guy play?
I mean-
I'd be crying.
Yeah, no, I think I would be brought to tears. I mean, meeting any of them.
Yeah.
I got a chance to meet. I got a chance to see the original
Love
Sabbath.
I did
and,
too. I saw the original. I saw him with Dio as well too.
Oh God, see that's amazing. But Bill was on the drums. I mean, right? We didn't have Tony Clufetis on there. It was Bill.
I saw
which
him
was
with Bill
great.
Ward.
Yeah, Bill too. Bill was great. I mean,
saw him with
he
Bill
has gray.
Ward.
He has long hair. He's like his gray long ponytail at the time. But you saw him with.
I
Twice,
saw him the first Ozfest, the original Sabbath,
Oh wow.
with Bill
okay.
Ward,
Yeah.
Geezer, and Tony, and Ozzy. I'm so glad I saw
It's so
that.
funny you saw him with the Ozfest. 'cause I
Yeah,
saw
and it was the very first time they came
Wow.
through Atlanta. Then I saw him. Danzig opened up.
Oh wow.
I saw
That's
them
awesome.
with the Dehumanizer tour. It was in
Yeah.
92 or 93, 94.
Yeah.
And it was Vinny Appice and
Oh,
Ronnie
man.
James Dio, Geezer, and Tony.
Yeah. See, I
And
got.
I had great seats for that. I had Tony. Never forget his
man.
cross was shining.
Nice.
And he was right there.
Yeah, that's
One of the
legendary.
greatest moments of
It's
my life.
legendary.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, I got to see the original Sabbath at the Ozfest. Actually,
I just love
in
it.
2005, when Maiden opened up with Sabbath at the,
Oh,
and that was when
show.
that's when Bruce and Sharon Osbourne were having their whole.
Is
tip
that
about-
you heard the old debacle with the eggs?
Yeah, the
throwing
eggs and all that
That's
bullshit.
A different story.
Yeah, and so, but no,
We
you're
get into
right.
that.
And it's funny about Ozfest.
Sharon's
Thank
a
God.
nut.
I mean, thank God for Ozfest, right? Because it brought Sabbath back.
She resurrected metal.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah,
It helps
she
to have
did,
somebody-
man.
yeah.
When grunge was hit, she goes, "Let's do the Ozfest," and
Yeah,
she took. It was
thank
kind of came
God.
from Lollapalooza, but
Yeah.
Ozfest was huge.
Right,
And that got kids back into metal again.
It helped. I mean,
Yeah.
it helped me see them live. I mean, I never saw to see Black Sabbath, original Sabbath, So that's wow. Tony Iommi.
Had to have him.
He is. You can't deny it. Even if
You
you
know,
don't-
every time I talk to you, I talk about Tommy.
Okay, yeah, I love it. You can't help but love the guy. All right, Alaric, number one.
Brother.
This one's probably not surprising for you guys watching. Triglav, Boris Behera.
Boris Behera, this is a guy that just, I don't know how, I mean, this guy has just come onto the scene for as far as I know, and taken it by storm.
I know that I say this every time.
Guitar player.
The riffs are so memorable.
Yeah,
I love them so much.
Why don't we play some when we're done with this too?
Should,
I want you to play. Yes, I want you to play me some.
Yeah, we'll play the record.
Yeah, there's a new album, The Ritual, right? The new album. We don't have Night of Whispering Souls. How come we don't have that?
We're gonna buy it when he reissues it with the single. But what I'm saying though is that you know bands like Marduk and Watain.
They might not know. But you're telling me.
If you guys don't know who Watain and Marduk are,
not everybody knows this stuff. Yeah.
I know, but they should.
You're turning me on to some stuff.
Yes. But about Marduk and Watain, those bands, like Boris is influenced by Marduk and stuff like that. His first show ever was Marduk and Vride, and I think
that's kind of like
that is one of his influences. Yeah. But with Marduk is kind of more straightforward. With Triglav, you could hear 80s metal influences. You hear that thrash metal influences. You hear the black metal.
It's dense. It's very deep. It's very deep.
Sometimes in a Triglav song, you can hear some death metal influences.
Would he resent you saying that?
No, he wouldn't resent me.
Would he agree? I mean,
I'm not. If let's say, if Euronymous was still alive and he knew he would resent that because Mayhem and death metal didn't go well.
But Boris is so diverse. But he's diverse. Even in black metal, he's very, very cool.
Boris is so diverse, and he's my favorite guitarist. Yeah. Just in every way.
Yeah, he's good, and he's technically great. He's also writes great songs. I mean, and they're memorable songs, but they're also very.
You said he plays all the instruments and everything too. Right?
Yes,
you were telling me about it before.
Like Count Grishnak.
And if you have and he's really his videos puts up are really awesome. They're very entertaining. And also I just want you to know that Heavy Metal Music Manor will be in Norway at the end of September into October.
Is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna be in Oslo and Bergen.
Birthplace
and we're going.
Black metal.
We're hoping to enjoy. We're really hoping to see that a lot of things that we're excited about. We're so excited. Yes.
You're gonna bring me too, right?
Oh yeah, come on, bro. Let's go. Get you in there. I would love for you to go, but Norway's a place we've always wanted to go, and Triglav is a really inspirational band, and you said Boris Behera.
Triglav were one of my favorite drummers. I mean, Boris was one of my favorite drummers.
Yeah.
Triglav.
He's a damn good drummer too. There was a video of him. He rip rides on.
Like on Night of Whispering Souls.
Yeah. Really.
Or I think Under My Skin drum playthrough
really,
off the first album.
Really good. Yeah,
it's awesome.
People will take one as he deserves whatever fame he gets, whatever kind of fortune he deserves it.
He's underrated.
Definitely. Well, he's not.
He should be Triglav should be as famous as Marduk. I love Marduk. I love that band with all my heart. But Triglav, they don't get enough recognition.
Well, they will eventually.
They're still a new band.
Yeah, they are a new band. Yeah. Even though they have 2 albums, I still think that they should.
I think anybody, everybody who likes Triglav is familiar with Triglav likes them. He's not underrated. I think he's rated highly for people who understand.
Well, yes, but I feel like more people should know him.
Well, we're trying to do our part. Yes. Buy the new album, Triglav, The Ritual. Buy it. Just buy it. Okay?
Right after.
All right.
After you watch the video,
go buy it.
Go buy both of their albums right now. Okay, after you're done with this video.
We really did, and Alaric brought me to Triglav. Very cool stuff, just really awesome.
And I want to hear some afterwards.
Yeah, we will pop it on. My number one now, guys. Honestly, this is number one for me, Yngwie Malmsteen. Okay, I just had to put it.
I knew that was going to be.
And the reason why is a lot of people say, "Oh, he's just so boring with his arpeggios." Hold on, and it's just.
No, I'm not.
Oh, I thought you were going to say nothing.
No, I'm like, because of those people.
Got
it's
it.
like, no, this guy's amazing.
Why? Okay, I could have put Martin Barr number one. Actually, I could have put Steve Morse number one, but the reason why Yngwie is number one is because he brings my love of classical music to the metal world, and neoclassical. He does it in like nobody else. I mean, look, Uli John Roth, what he did was great. I love Richie Blackmore, what he did with it. There's Wolf Hoffman is one of my honorable mentions. I'll mention Wolf, who did it too. Who plays Bach and Mozart or Beethoven or Wagner. in a metal genre. It takes it into the metal world completely.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do, but Yngwie does it where he actually is playing the guitar, like I said, like a violin, like almost like violin style. And he's really a true composer, classical musician. I consider Yngwie Malmsteen a classical composer who happens to play metal. Yeah. And so when I listen to bands like Yngwie's band, Rising Force, when I heard Rising Force Marching Out and Odyssey, Trilogy and Odyssey, those are the first four I really loved. And I know there's some cheesy songs in there, different singers and this, that, and other thing. I forgive some of it. Some of it really is, cheesy as far as the singing. But there's a lot of singers I do like, Goran Edman and Joe Lynn Turner. I love Jeff Scott Soto.
Jeff Scott Soto
he was the guy.
Good singer.
Yeah, and Mark Bolan. I think I ended up seeing Mark. I saw Yngwie with opening up for AC/DC, and it was Mark Bolan. I think it was not Mark.
Now he's doing it all.
No, I'm not even sure.
Singing and everything now. I think Yngwie, right?
Yeah. Yngwie, he does it all now. He sings everything. I'm not even sure about the singer Mark. Was that Mark Bolan? I'm not even sure if I was right in Trilogy. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that one, but I know that.
Jeff Scott Soto.
Oh, Mark Bowles. Sorry, Mark. Is it?
Jeff Scott Soto, I definitely was in there, and Joe Lynn Turner. But
yeah,
you know more about Yngwie than me.
No, but it was Bowles. It was. I forget the name of the guy's last name was Bowles.
We were thinking of Mark Bolan, T-Rex. Probably.
Right, yeah. But I think it's Bowles. Anyway, he was a singer for Trilogy. But my favorite singers, but you're right. Yngwie singing, doing everything now.
Pretty much.
Now, here's the thing about Yngwie. Last thing I'll say. We saw Yngwie recently, right? I have to tell you, I feel like Yngwie is a star. He is the maestro. I'm okay with him putting his band to the side and having a stack of Marshalls that piss you off because there's so many. I friggin' love it. I love that he is so... I love his egocentricity. I love that he knows he's the man.
Yes,
it's his show. There's no excuse. I don't care that the keyboard player and the drummer are off to the side. I could care less. They love it. They love that they're on the stage with him. But he is the superstar.
He is.
And when I listen to Yngwie, I feel like I'm listening to, it's like if you listen, how can you listen to Bach and Scarlatti and it's just boring and disgusting. The sounds so much like the same. That's why I love Yngwie. I love that he just shreds like Bach and Paganini and Vivaldi. And
wait, Bach doesn't... electricity wasn't a thing back then.
Well, all right. But
I know.
Anyway, I'm just telling you that I love Yngwie Malmsteen, and I know he's not, I like him as a guitar player, he's a crappy guy, he's not a nice guy, he's egocentric. I don't care. I just don't care.
Yeah.
And I think he's I think he's just fantastic.
You named multiple people, like Richie Blackmore, and you said about Dave Mustaine, for sure.
Right. We don't have to care.
I mean, they're not great human beings.
We don't have to care. Right. And again,
they're some of the greatest artists of all time are not easy people. They're difficult.
It's a good point.
Socially inept.
That's it. I mean, artists are not supposed to be. Picasso was easy to get along. I mean, he wasn't. I mean, Modigliani, a lot of artists, painters. I mean, they were difficult, strange, and real kind of difficult people to deal with. But again, I don't care about Yngwie's personality. I think he's really cool when he's interviewed. I think he's great. But yes, he knows he's great.
I love the Pantera video. You want a donut?
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah. You showed me that one. Yeah. So now we're gonna do honorable mentions, and while we're doing that, I want you to keep in mind that these honorable mentions are no less at all, because I have to mention mine. Let's go back to World According to Patrick.
I'm going to go real quick because I'm not going to waste an hour doing this. I'm just going to name multiple people.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll do it.
Real quick. And then, because all these people that, Michael Schenker, I don't even have him written down, Randy Rhoads.
Oh, my God.
Eddie Van Halen, Peter Green, Lindsey Buckingham, Dave Gilmour, Jimmy Page, Ace Frehley was my hero as a kid.
Yeah.
Everybody let Malcolm Young, but of course, Angus. But Malcolm it was Malcolm for me.
Absolutely.
Alan Collins, but everybody, Gary Rossington. I always was a big Alan Collins fan over Leonard Skinner. Yeah. Ted Nugent, I had to have on here. I almost had my top 10.
Another guy that people.
Chris Poland.
Yeah.
Jerry Cantrell. I think he's very underrated. Steve Morse.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Bonamassa and a cat named Terry Kath, who was in the band Chicago.
Okay.
Jimi Hendrix said that was his favorite guitar player.
Wow, that's crazy. The Chicago comes up a lot. And for people who like
Terry Kath was amazing. But you see why I just named her.
No, that's a lot.
Taking a long.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, Lyric, go ahead.
It's not. I'm going to talk a little bit about these guys.
Well, go ahead. We have to move it along.
I really wanted to have all of these guys in my list. So we got Isaac Hale, Knox Loose. He has a death metal / deathcore approach, and same with Knox Loose. deathcore/death metal, yet there's some hardcore influences in it. And same with Isaac Hale's guitar playing. He is everything you want from a guitarist. I know I've said that a lot, but it's true. He writes so well. His singing is actually pretty cool. His growl, that's really cool. So, and then Richard Shaw and Nerik Smerda. I'm sorry if I butchered that name, from Cradle to Filth. Existence is Futile.
That's a great album.
That album is amazing. It's so diverse.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not necessarily black metal, but this band are kind of underrated. Like, people say it's like, oh, they're too diverse. Ugh. And it's like, embrace them. They're a good band. I love Cradle of Filth.
Who's your
yes, and then my last one, I have two more. I mean, Nocturnal Culto, Dark Throne. It's Nocturnal Culto. He wrote some of those amazing riffs, like In the Shadow of the Horns, Transylvanian Hunger, that classic Dark Throne. And wasn't for Dark Throne, there wouldn't be a lot of bands nowadays.
I like Dark Throne a lot.
Yes. Back to the thing with Farvan. Farvan loves Dark Throne. It's pretty obvious if you watch his videos. He wears a lot of Dark Throne shirts. People will get that joke if they watch Farvan's channel.
Sure, a lot of people are watching.
Yes.
But Nocturnal Culto. Okay,
yes,
Dark Throne.
Nocturnal Culto, Dark Throne.
Oh, is that your...
One more.
Okay.
Herman Lee, Dragon Force. I know it's a cliche for it's like, Through the Fire and Flames I love that song, but there's better Dragon Force songs. With the Dragon Force, I think it's safe to say this. They're the pioneers of power metal. Just everything though about Herman Lee is amazing, and then just like the newest Dragon Force album, he does his job. It's true. Yeah, he does his job. Of course, Through the Fire and Flames, he does amazing work on there. But in every Dragon Force song, he does his job, and Okay. So Herman Lee. Yeah.
All right, so mine are gonna be Wolf Hoffman, okay, because he's another neoclassical guy. Like he can play Grieg and Beethoven in a song, and if you listen to the newest Accept album, Too Mean to Die, you'll hear Beethoven. If you hear the older stuff, Blind Rage, you'll hear Edvard Grieg. The guy's amazing. Tony Iommi, I had to put him.
Yes.
Michael Denner, Hank Sherman. I had to put that. Jeff Hanneman. Oh, come on. Merciful Fate, baby, right?
Oh, yes.
I mean,
yes.
Sherman and Denner.
A special Hank Sherman. Is one of them.
God. No, right. I mean, we take care of each other, right?
Thank you for mentioning that.
Totally, man. Jeff Hanneman, Kerry King, Adrian Smith, Dave Murray.
Did I mention Adrian Smith because he was on the Manor?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, I did.
Okay. I think you did, yeah. Angus and Malcolm Young and Glenn Tipton and KK Downing.
Good choices.
And there we have it. Ladies and gentlemen, you got it from World According to Patrick and Heavy Metal Music Manor, top 10. I'll tell you, we went off on appropriate tangents, I think.
Yes.
And I mean, you can watch this whole episode and really feel the passion and love coming from us.
Also,
We'd like to thank World According to Patrick. Check out his YouTube channel. It's very, very informative. Subscribe. Crying out loud. What's the big deal? It's free.
And Heavy Metal Music
It's free.
Yes.
Free.
Also, one thing I gotta say also, Emperor Isham. Okay, Emperor, I'm wearing the shirt for...
All right,
not
Demon
to
Ass.
say honor.
You didn't mention Demon Ass to Immortal. Is he a guitarist? Or is it...
I'm not sure. Crap, I look like a poser now.
It's okay. But look, what you have to understand is that at Heavy Metal Music Manor, again, we have lots of different genres of music being talked about in these episodes. Some of it is, of course, we have the metal love, and we also have love of music. That's the whole point. And you want to talk about the true point and passion of this channel. And of course, we have the bridge of the generation here, the gaps.
I think that's great.
I mean,
it's
really,
huge because we're learning stuff from him.
That's the point.
It's great.
That's it. So tune in next time, and I'm going to, very unprofessionally get up and press the stop button.
Subscribe.
All right, subscribe. Heavy Metal Music Manor. World According to Patrick. Come to see us in the next episode.
Yes.
We'll see you in Norway. We're going to be doing some shows next week and the week after, and we are ready to rock always. So
Subscribe.
yes. All right. Thank you.